Hello, 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 hello. Stevie Coyle here, Mighty Fine Guitars, Friday Noontime webcast. Welcome, come on in. Got one guitar to show you today, although several super cool guitars have come in. I got one to show you today by Steve Grimes in Hawaii. Holy smokes. But at the same time, a Schoenberg came in, preposterous. There's a Gibson J50 in. There's all kinds of super cool stuff. There's the Harmony that I showed you a couple of weeks ago with the Harmo metal on it. Oh gosh, they all show up here. A Beneteau I have yet to show you, but I'm going to take them one at a time. I may need to stack up more Friday noontime webcasts, like Saturday noontime webcasts and Tuesday and Wednesday, because there's so many new guitars I got to show you. But here's the Grimes. Oh, hang on. Checking, as usual, to see that nobody's standing on the cord between here and there. I think we're okay. Yeah. I think we're okay. Come on in. Do feel free to pass the info along that this webcast is happening. If you're watching live at, well, it's not the noontime webcast. We had a little thing happen here today that precluded me starting on time. As usual, things intrude on art. Life intrudes on art all the time, and you can quote me on that. Here's the Steve Grimes guitar. It's kind of ridiculous. You may have seen this in pictures that I posted on the website. You may have seen one of these before. I have seen these, but I have never played the Coyle Beamer model from Steve Grimes. I don't know if you can tell from there, but I can tell from here it's a whole different animal. Instead of having a single sound hole here that really does kind of, design-wise interrupt the vibrations of the lower bout, which is where most of the guitar sounds come from. Pushing your sound holes, in this case, up closer to the fingerboard, to the end of the fingerboard, gives you more room, and to have it braced here instead of back here lets this vibrate in a whole different way. It's loud. I'm playing just with fingers because this guitar is rather delicate and I don't want to ding the top with either a long thumb pick or a flat pick. Is the sound coming through okay? I always ask, or sometimes I don't. Hi Johnny Crest, it's Johnny K. You got some new guitars. Feel free to tout the K-Casters, the Johnny K-Casters. Hi Mark, hi Dan. Hi there. Somebody let me know if the sound is good. I think it's good. The little green light is on my mic. That's all I know. This guitar having two sound holes here instead of a single sound hole here does kind of what I've had a couple of McPhersons in the shop as well that have kind of a big D-shaped sound hole up here. They sound more like, how do I put this? They sound more like themselves behind the guitar like they do in front of the guitar, which is to say, the great irony of being a guitar player is everybody else hears your guitar differently from the way that you hear your guitar, because they're listening to it from out front. All the waves are going straight out. They're getting everything kind of in time. You're sitting behind the guitar. You're not hearing a lot of the high end, unless you lean the guitar way back, which some of us do, so that you can hear the face of the guitar. This guitar, with the double sound holes up in the upper bout, and that McPherson guitar, they sound more similar front to back. Does that make sense? This guitar sounds pretty much the same, sitting in front of it, as I have, and had other people play it, and being behind it and playing it myself. This is fantastic. It looks really cool, let's face it, but looks are not primarily what it's about. This is called the Beamer model, B-E-A-M-E-R, named after Coyle Beamer, wonderful slack key guitarist, Hawaiian slack key guitarist. Kind of designed for him and bears his name. This one is a little different from other Beamer models. Most of them are 15 and a fraction across the bottom, or 16. This one's 14 across the bottom, about. So a little bit more manageable for those of us that have gotten wider than we used to be. Gorgeous in every way. Look at that. Brazilian rosewood. Sides and back. In fact, let me get my little cheat sheet here. Give you all the specs. This is 1967 master grade Brazilian rosewood. And here's the story on the Brazilian rosewood. From Steve Grimes, the Brazilian rosewood is from a batch of it that luthier Michael Gurian had milled in Brazil in 1967. Gurian used to not only supply his factory with tone wood, but also sold wood to Martin, Guild, Gibson, and many other independent luthiers. It was from a group of sets of this Brazilian rosewood that he took to his home shop while the rest of the sets went to the factory. This was Gurian's home stash. All the sets taken to his factory, over 3,000, this is so hard to say, 3,000 sets went up in smoke when his factory burned down in 1979. Unbelievable. Soon after, he switched from making guitars to making guitar parts for the industry and moved to Seattle in 1989. I met him, Steve Grimes says, I met him and we became friends and sold many of the old Brazilian sets to me. Today, wood of this character, straight-grained, quarter-sawn, cannot be found at any price. And you can hear it. There's something about Brazilian. How to talk about wood. Louder and quieter are the two terms, I'm told, and I think I believe it, that apply natively to sound. But how do you describe... People use warm to describe... It just means good. To some people it means lots of mid-range, not too sparkly. Other people it means real sparkly, real warm. Whatever. Brazilian, I think, does something to the low mid-range that makes it chocolatey rather than lemony. There's a fellow that was buying guitar years and years ago here. He had it down to 2, finally. And his wife came in to give him her opinion, and I absented myself in the back room for a while and left him. When I came back in, I'd had dinner with these folks a couple of nights before, and they're both real foodies. And when I came back in, she was saying, not that one. That one's too lemony. I like the chocolatey one. I knew what they were talking about. Chocolate? I can. Let me read you more about the specs of what it is and what it does. It's Brazilian rosewood, a master grade German spruce top, 14-inch body, 1 and almost 3/4 nut, 25-inch scale. So 25 inches kind of puts you in the middle between typical short scale and typical long scale, which means that's nuts. It's still ticking. If you do drop tunings, if you do alternate tunings, if you do, of course, slack key. Let me see who's here. Thanks for joining me, folks. Stevie Coyle here, Mighty Fine Guitars, Lafayette, California. Demoing guitars, demonstrating guitars, not demolishing guitars with any luck. Demoing guitars on the Friday Noontime Webcast, which is a semi-regular feature here on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Let me say hellos to some folks here. Hi, all 16 of you. Hi, Michael Ferrucci. Hi, Witchy Watcher. Mark Altacruz, Eric Apgar, Michael Ferrucci, David Hilliard, hi there. Larry Pattis, fine guitarist. Hola from España. Joe Weed. How do they say, oh dear, I've stubbed my toe and tripped on this step at a pub in Ireland in Spanish? I bet there's a one word. Beautimus. Hi there, John Mooney. Go Broncos. Hi, Mark David Hamilton. Chris Gasborough. Mike Tatarakis. Sharing, but have to go get set up. Yes, Bunny, go get set up. Folks, when you're done here, jump right over to Bunny Barnes' channel, because she does her 3 for Friday. Usually plays 3 tunes with context to tell you what you're listening to and where it came from, and answers all your questions about guitars and guitarists. The fingerboard here I'm looking at, it's fantastic. You can't see it, but I can. And that's one of the great things about playing guitar is you get a particular view. The fingerboard is bound with koa, grain going this way, so it's very stripy, sort of. I don't know if you can see it in this light. Mahogany neck, koa binding, German spruce top, ebony bridge, ebony fingerboard, recently plekked. The guitar has been plekked. It also has in it, and I've got to check this out because this is a new name to me. There's always something new in the world. The pickup is called a Go Acoustic pickup, which is kind of a more complicated install, but apparently they sound just great. And I took a quick look at the website, and sure enough, they look terrific. It's a drop-in saddle kind of thing with hexaphonic pickups. Yeah, hexaphonic saddle pickup. So it's got a few little sensors in here, but there's bleed from one string to the other, so it sounds very acoustic instead of having each string have its own pickup. This is a proprietary system that on the internet sounded great. This guitar has got that in it, and it has been recently plekked. So it is set up beautifully. I really wish pleck machines didn't work as well as they do, because I'd like to think that human beings can do as good a job as a pleck machine. But doggone it, proof's in the pudding, and I've never played a plekked guitar that wasn't vastly better than when it was pre-plekked. I have to go to confession now. Ridiculous. Let me give you another visual on this. PRIMO Brazilian rosewood. Beautifully quarter-sawn, straight-grained, old stuff from Michael Gurian's private stash koa binding, mahogany neck, German spruce top. Gorgeous. Pareidolia is in effect. Pareidolia, pareidolia. What makes your big head so hard? Perhaps you see what I see. And it plays so true. This is one of the things about plecking, is that the intonation up and down the neck is just spot on. The setup is spot on. It feels great. Primarily, yes, a finger-style guitar, I'd have to say. You could strum it, and it would sound great. But with this design, and for Coyle Beamer, fabulous finger-style player, it's essentially a finger-style guitar. Price-wise, dunno. Somewhere north of 15, I'm guessing. Got to look around a little bit, see if there are any comps on the internet. Steve Grimes guitar, the Coyle Beamer model, a custom one though, smaller than usual, smaller across the lower bout, a little bit more manageable size-wise for those of us that are wider as we got older. Let me see if there are any comments or questions I need to address before I take off. If you have comments or questions, post them and I'll get to them on the flip-flop. And this, even though it's going out live here in California at creeping up on 1 o'clock, 12:48 on Friday, April 12th, you can watch this any old time. You can pass it along to any friends any old time. And I try and do this here at Mighty Fine Guitars every Friday noon-ish. Righto. Let's see who's here and what's happening. Hi, Dan Payne. There's Mark Mullen. Sound is good. Thank you, Christian. Thank you very much. Howdy to all in Yosemite. Indiana, terrific. I think Joe Weed has got you beat in Spain for the Faraway Prize. And said a lot of howdies here. Very good. Aloha, Mike. Yes, indeed. Dave Horn want. I know. Me too. Thanks, Paul. Terrific to see you, folks. Feel free to pass this around. Tune in next week. I'll probably be featuring the Eric Schoenberg OM45 tribute built by Bruce Sexauer. Preposterous guitar. Stay tuned for that. Well, don't stay tuned, but tune back in next Friday, noon-ish. And I'll try and make it noon next time around. Thanks for tuning in. Stevie Coyle here at Mighty Fine Guitars signing off. Down the road, everybody.